All right, Bulldog. So I got a question today about outworking yourself. This is from, let's see, Harsh. I think that's how it's pronounced. From India. And he says, "Hey John, this is Harsh from India. I am pursuing my bachelor's in computer science. I've been doing competitive programming for a while now. I discovered your channel just a few weeks ago, and your videos have given me quite a lot of strength. In one of your videos you stated, if we were to compete, I'll fucking bury you because I'll outwork the shit of you. I'll outwork the shit out of you," which is true. I live by that. All right. And he says, "That sentence really got me pumped, and I decided to really outwork not only others but myself too. Since then, I've been waking up at 5:30 in the morning and solving problems for around 12 hours, 6 to 9, and then, 10 to 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 9, and at night. I would play chess to train my brain. First few days were all right, and then I was really progressing, but after a few days, I kept on getting tougher to sustain that process. Even when I would sit near my computer at the designated time, my mind would often wander, and I'd eventually become just as productive as I was a few weeks ago. How can I solve this? Thanks for everything. Keep up the good work, brother." Couple of things here. I'm just going to start off with one of them, just because I don't want to miss this one. Playing chess does not train your brain. There's a lot of studies on this, a bunch of books I read that will help you to confirm this. One of them is called Peak. What you'll find is that chess masters and people that are really good at chess, they actually do not increase their IQ, okay? And they're not necessarily high IQ, and it doesn't translate over to pretty much any other area of life. What they become good at, I'm not saying that there's not some amount of strategizing and whatnot that you become good at, but what they become good at is memorizing board positions and understanding almost instinctively how to operate from there. Yes, don't focus on chess. It's fun, it's great, you can become good at it, but it's not really improving. It's not even going to improve your memory, right? They found that when they randomly put chess pieces on the board, the chess masters that can memorize and play like 24 games of chess and know where the positions were in all these games, they couldn't, if it didn't make sense, if you just put them randomly on the board, they couldn't memorize it any better than an average person. So just to clear that up. With that said, little sidetrack there, let's talk about what you're doing here. Okay, first of all, what you're doing is crazy. This is not going to work because you literally cannot do this long of intense work, right? If you're going to solve problems for 12 hours a day, outworking yourself is great, but that's just not going to work because that's intense focused work. What I have found in general is that most people, okay, and there's a lot of studies to back this up as well, a lot of books. I think if you read Cal Newport's So Good They Can't Ignore You, I think he probably talks about this in Deep Work. There's a few different books that you can find that talk about the idea that most people can only sustain focused work. That's hard, really deep work for about 4 to 5 hours a day. So Stephen King writes for 4 hours a day, every day. I think Stephen Pressfield, the same. Throughout history, there's been a lot of famous people that have worked basically 4 hours. Now, when I work, in fact, I've got a Pomodoro timer going right now. I will do typically 8 to 10 Pomodori a day, which is, again, 4 to 5 hours worth of work, okay? It doesn't mean that this is all the work that I do. I do some other stuff, but this is focused, concentrated work. You have to realize that you do have limits as far as that goes, okay? And you have to be smart about this. You can't just be like doing this, and the quality of the work matters. So what I would recommend if you want to be good at this is, first of all, I've got a video on how I plan my week, okay? I think I've updated this with I use Kanban flow and all this. The Kanban flow people love me, believe me. I've gotten so many people using my system, but it works. It's the best system, honestly, for being productive. And what you want to do is you want to use something like that. We're using Pomodoro technique where you're focusing, okay? And that's the thing that's going to keep you from sitting at the desk and your mind wandering and not actually doing the work, is if you start the timer and you have to focus and get thing done in that time, if you're doing it properly, that is going to make you, like, you're only going to be working, you're only going to be sitting there when you're doing it. There's a lot of things I could say about this, right? I mean, some of the rules that I try to set for myself is that when I sit down, I always know what I'm going to do. If I'm sitting down and I'm working, my fingers are moving, right? I'm doing something, I'm actively doing it. You don't allow yourself to just like wander off and do Facebook and stuff like that. You know, from time to time we all fall into that trap, but the more conscientious you can be of that, the better. Okay, and you have to be smart about this, right? Because, and here's the thing, I'll kind of leave you with this. There's a lot of ways. When I was looking at this question, I thought about a lot of ways to answer this, and there's a lot of things I could say about this, right? You could watch this whole channel and find answers to this question, but here's what I'll say is, don't be the dude that is like, man, I need to get in shape. I need to get six-pack abs. I need to get in shape, so I'm gonna go run a marathon tomorrow, right? And he like goes and runs 26.2 miles without any much training, having gone from running a few miles a week to suddenly doing this. Okay, now heroically he makes this effort. He just wrecks himself. It's hard, is it right? And then the next day, does he get up and work out or go to the gym or run? No, he doesn't do anything, and doesn't do anything the next week, and, you know, and basically doesn't do anything. Versus the guy that says, look, I'm going to run 5 miles every single day. I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to run my 5 miles, right? That guy makes a lot more progress in his fitness, in his weight loss, if he's trying to get six-pack abs. You know, he makes progress because he's doing it consistently at a sustained pace. Now, when I say outworking someone, right, again, and you can learn this from distance runners too, one of the strategies that he uses, ultra runners use, that's a smart strategy, is to be at a consistent pace, knowing that people are going to, like, to be able to go the whole 100 miles, right, at a fairly consistent pace, right? He might even pick it up at the end, and knowing that other people that are starting out fast, they're going to die out, they're going to drop out, and to be strong enough to keep doing that. And so it's the same thing here, is like, you outwork people by doing more than what they can sustain on a daily basis. You outwork yourself by doing that. Okay, that's how for something long like this, that's how you're going to win, right? You're not going to make one heroic effort. You need to make a heroic effort every day. So it has to be a small enough effort that you can actually sustain that and keep that going. Because if you multiply it by 365, that's going to be a lot more than like a couple of days or even a week of heroic effort. So that makes sense. Okay, so anyway, that's how I think I'm going to answer this today. There's, like I said, a lot of things here, but do not try and do what you're doing right now. This is ridiculous. Instead, you know, do other work. And when you switch up the work that you're doing, you can get more done. Okay, it's just another important concept. All right, that's all I got for you today. If you haven't already, okay, and you want to become a Bulldog, develop the Bulldog mindset, click that subscribe button down below, become part of the pack, become a fucking Bulldog. All right, I'll talk to you next time.